And now we welcome in Iron Mike Perry. He's the CEO of Penn and Perry Inc. Thanks for joining us, Iron Mike.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, so I know you're an expert in this area, given all the work that you've done. And so I'd love to talk a little bit about how using human justice model, really of bringing in violence interrupters, is really the better solution when it comes to solving gun violence on the streets.
Yeah, I mean, you have men and women who come from that, right? We come from that world of violence. So you guys know the saying, people closest to the problem are the ones who can solve the problem, solve the issues, and be a part of that solution. So it's simply that, getting men and women who come from that world, who understand what's happening on the ground, who understands what the people are going through mentally, physically, looking at the neighborhoods. We all come from these same neighborhoods where the violence is happening. So it's going to take us in a model like the Human Justice Network to be a part of that conversation, public safety.
Yes, public safety is something I think that all of us, no matter where you come from, are very much invested in. And I definitely agree with you in terms of if you are on the ground and experiencing it, that you have a better idea oftentimes about how to solve the issues. But I would love to hear more about how you think we should go about this when it comes to ways in which you can kind of mediate things and how to use consequential thinking.
Oh, that's the key. You took the words right out of my mouth. Consequential thinking is a big thing that we use in New York City and abroad in terms of what happens on the ground. So you'll have situations going on. We mediate conflicts. We know who's who in these neighborhoods, right? So we know the gangs, we know the men and women who are involved in this stuff. So one of the tools that we use is consequential thinking, because when you're in the moment, in the heat of the moment, you're not thinking about the consequences. Trust me, I've been there. I've been in the moment, right, where I didn't think about the consequences. And so we've seen that using that tool is a great way to get a person to buy some time, get a person to stand down, get a person to think about what he's going to do before he's do it. And a lot of times you get to railroad that energy into a different place. So it's very important that we use consequential thinking. Of course, there's other things like addressing the mental health issues that are going on in our communities. You have food disparities, right? There's a lot of other nuances and a lot of other things that are happening with our youth and older men and women that need to be addressed.
Yes, and I think it's something about at least creating or breaking away from a dynamic of culture that's been created. And I think sometimes people will see from they're looking up at people that they may have looked up to who have passed down generational conflict, and they themselves end up embodying that. And so they don't understand the different ways in which they can go about resolving conflict. And they may think that there's only maybe one way of doing it. And so would you suggest or say that the approach that works well is giving people tools to understand how they can resolve conflict in different ways?
100%. See, we're fighting against a mentality. We're fighting against hypermasculinity and thinking that growing up where we come from, you have to be violent to be a man. So we're fighting against that, changing that mentality, changing the norms of young men and young women, knowing that, and for you to be a man or a real woman, doesn't take you to be violent. It doesn't take you to hurt somebody. I grew up that same way. I thought that in order for me to get my stripes as a man, I had to be violent. I had to do a violent act so I can get the respect. But that's just not true. And so we're fighting against that mentality that plagues our neighborhood and plagues where we come from. It's something that it's a tough fight. You have the music, you have entertainment, you have a lot of things that you're up against. And a lot of us are parents now, right? We have children who are looking up to artists, rap artists, and entertainers who promote that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's on us to do our best to share with them the realities and the lines between what's real and what's entertainment. So again, one of the main things is changing the norms, showing our men and women, be yourself, man. Whoever that person is, be yourself. There's a lane for you in life of being yourself.
I think that's something that a lot of people should be able to relate to and understand, because we've all been in situations where our emotions have taken over, where almost, not to call it animalistic, but it's almost like those base mentality thoughts of, I need to handle this in this way that is very, almost a very humanistic kind of approach, as opposed to let me think about this, let me rationalize and make a logical decision. Let good judgment take over, as opposed to this thought of, let me solve this using my fists, or of that kind of nature. And so I definitely love to know, do you have any steps that you really suggest people use when it comes to forming these peace agreements with people?
Oh, 100%. I think one of the things is you have to show the people that you're dealing with that you're serious and that you care. I'll tell you this, man, we lead with love, because a lot of young men and young women, they don't know what that's like. A
Yeah.
lot of them. Some of them don't have love in the home. They don't know what it is. So somebody like me, who has a reputation in the neighborhood, pretty popular guy, music, having the street background that a lot of them look up to, right? I can use that as a tool to get in, right? So somebody like myself would be considered a big homie, a legend in the hood where I'm from. You use that, and I can tell them, look, man, I got love for you. It's shock value with that,
Yeah.
right? Because they hear that word, and immediately a lot of them are like, wait, it shocks them. It's a shock to their system, because a lot of them haven't gotten that at home, that word. So we lead with love, 100%, because we truly do care about the youth out here. And they know when it's real, right? These young men and young women, they're very smart. They know when you're faking, and they know it's a real thing. So we lead with love, and that's how we start the buy-in. That's how we start to build a rapport with them, to get them to trust us. We show them things. We have the background. We have, unfortunately, but yet fortunately now, because we can use the world that we come from. We have a history of stuff not being so good for us, right? But we can use that. We can use that for buying, because they say to themselves, okay, how can you help me? We can show them proof that we did it and we've been there and done that. Here's how I can help you. Look at my life.
Yes, and definitely leading with love is a very powerful thing. As you mentioned, people don't necessarily have it at home. And then when they see it, I'm sure to some extent they try to test you to see if it's genuine and if it's real. And that can be a very powerful thing. But when it comes to neighborhoods, where are you? Like, where are your stomping grounds?
Staten Island, New York, man, the fifth borough. They say forgotten borough. I would like to say we're not forgotten no more.
No, we all know you're there. I did some time in Kew Gardens in Queens, Union Turnpikes and Queens Boulevard. So I knew Staten Island. I know where it is. I avoided it, but that's fine.
Shout out to you. Yeah, definitely. So we're here. We're part of the 5 boroughs. And it's a lot of violence that happens in Staten Island. So we're here doing our part and looking to be at the table when it comes to public safety.
And that's an important thing. And there are a lot of young people out there who need your help. And so it's incredibly important and impactful, the work that you do. And I know that now you have a new elected official there with Mayor Eric Adams. So what are your thoughts in terms of how he's handling violence when it comes to the streets?
We're watching our brother Eric Adams, and we're hoping that he's a supporter of the work that we do. He's a supporter of the anti-violence groups. He's a supporter of the Human Justice Network. He's a supporter of the crisis management system, and we're very excited about partnering with him and him having us at the table in terms of being a part of public safety and forming it and shaping it and rolling it out. You know what I'm saying? Of course, he's doing some things with the police and stuff like that, and so a lot of the community, they're kind of on watch about that. They're kind of like, okay, well, what's this about? What's that about? So we're watching some of the policies that he wants to roll out, but we're hoping that as he continues to roll out his public safety plan, he keeps us at the forefront, knowing that we're a part of public safety. We need to co-produce this in order for our families, your families, and all families in New York City to be safe and abroad.
No, that's extremely important. I'm not a New Yorker anymore, but I can tell you a lot of things that I've heard so far and read so far about Mayor Eric Adams are very scary. Particularly, I don't appreciate how he handles people in Rikers with solitary confinement, but that's another conversation for another day.
Yes.
But I would definitely love to know how you feel about his blueprint to end gun violence.
Right. So again, we support the parts of it that speak to what we do. Right. There's a lot, of course. I mean, you're not going to agree with everything anybody does. That's life. And he understands that. all the elected officials, they understand that. So we support him supporting us, knowing that we have to be at the table. And we've been at the table since he's been in office, and we're happy about that. But of course, we want to challenge him on some of the things that we don't agree with, respectfully, and we want to see if our influence and the people that we have a couple hundred people workforce, maybe 1,000 people, right, who support our work, who do the work that we do. So we're looking at continuing to sit with him, build with him, equip him with some of the stuff that he may need in terms of better serving our people, because we do know that incarceration is not a sustainable solution. Nowhere.
Nope, it's not anywhere through this nation. Unfortunately, the United States kind of has a track record for it, especially when it comes to engaging with Black and brown communities. So hopefully Mayor Adams will take a different approach, and there'll be organizations like yours that can really just change the way people see it when it comes to that carceral state and this standard model that we've taken on. And so I know there are a lot of people out there who want to uplift and to make change. And so when it comes to people who want to get involved, who want to uplift the things that you do, Iron Mike, who really want to ensure that communities are invested in and that there is an end to this violence that goes on. What would you suggest that they do, and how do they reach out to your organization?
Hey, look up the grassroots organizations. Look at the community organizations who are pushing a mentality of change amongst our people. Look at the people who are on the ground, right? Look at crisis management system. Look at the Human Justice Network. Look at us, see what we're doing in New York City. Support us. Support Penn Perry Inc. here on Staten Island. Support the crisis management system, man, and let's continue to do what we do. Our architect, Kay Bain, community capacity development, doing great work. Look us up and support us, man. Pull all your resources, pour into us, raise awareness about community groups doing the work, and we'll be able to come to your town and your city and make it safer. I promise you that.
I like that. And where can people find you on social media?
Oh, I'm on Instagram at The Real Iron Mike. I think it's up here. You can find us at Twitter at The Real Iron Mike. We're also on Instagram at Penn Perry Inc. Look us up, man. We're doing phenomenal work. Also CCD Worldwide on Instagram. So look us up. We're doing some great things, man. And we're looking for the support. We're looking for people to raise awareness. Thank you guys for this platform. This raises awareness for what we're doing in terms of public safety in New York City. So thank you.
Yes, and thank you for all that you do. That's Iron Mike Perry, CEO of Penn and Perry Inc.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.